Bring my desktop. So let's see if the transcription has started. Yes, it has started. And we are recording. Okay. So there is a distribution of Linux that people in security use a lot. It is called Kali Linux. So I want to show you this distribution of Linux. Let's go to the web page of Kali Linux to download it. It's kali.org. So I am in the web page here, and we have several possibilities to download Kali Linux. We can download a pre-made virtual machine, or we can download an ISO file that we burn on a CD and we install in bare metal, for example. In this example, since I'm not going to install it in a real machine, I'm going to install a pre-made virtual machine. So we have pre-made version for VMware and VirtualBox. So I came with the one of VMware, but it's like I will not be able to install it. So let's try VirtualBox. I also have it. So we can choose if we want the 64 version or the 32-bit version. I want the 64 version, and I'm going to click here to download it. So since it's an OVA file, OVA, since it will take some time, it is there already. I came with it on my pen drive, and I'm going to try to see if I can install it in VirtualBox. So I'm going to start VirtualBox, and I'm going to import this virtual machine. The OVA file is a portable way to store a virtual machine. So I'm going to go here, and there is in file, there is an import appliance. Since I have this OVA file that I just downloaded, I'm going to try to import it. So here, I have to specify where is the file. So I'm going to click here and browse. It is on my desktop, and it is there, Kali Linux 2022 first semester for VirtualBox. No? So I'm going to select it and click open. Then here, next. So here we can change some configuration of the virtual machine. For example, the memory, if you want to change the amount of memory of your virtual machine, you can change it here. Okay, for Kali Linux to work well, we need 2 GB. So I'm not going to change this option. If your machine is very low in memory, you can just keep 1 GB. But this machine is okay, so I'm going to let it 2 GB. What I'm going to do is disable the control of USB. I don't need, I'm not going to plug a pen drive or any USB device to this virtual machine, so I'm going to disable it, and the rest is okay. You should not change anything out of disable, or maybe change the amount of RAM that you will give to the virtual machine. I'm going to click import. So here there is a license agreement. I'm going to agree with it, and it will start extracting the virtual machine from the OVA file, and it will create the virtual machine. This will take some time. So while this is going on, there is a second virtual machine that I want to have. It is called Metasploitable. So Metasploitable is a virtual machine that was done on purpose very weak, which means that it has a lot of weaknesses. It's a virtual machine that were done for the student to practice and find the weaknesses on it and try to mitigate them, or try to eliminate them, or try to mitigate them. So I will have my Kali machine, which will be the machine that I will be using to try to find weaknesses in my Metasploitable virtual machine. So I just download in a web page the Metasploitable virtual machine. So let me try to show you. It's a little difficulty. I cannot even move my, you see. Okay, so it is in the download directory and I download it. It is there. So it's a zip file. I need, oh, the virtual machine is installed. Very good. So we can go ahead. So my Kali Linux just got imported in VirtualBox. You see, I have already virtual machine here. I want to work with my Kali Linux and I want to look at the setting. So let me click here and see if the setting is okay. Oh, by the way, before I do that, I have to be sure that I have a NAT network on my with a VirtualBox. So here in File, there is an option that is called Preference, and I will go to Network, and I do have it. I have a NAT network here. Let me eliminate it and show you. It's my protest because those machines might be using it. Let me try to eliminate. And if we have a warning message, yeah, we do have a warning message saying that the other virtual machine are using it. So it says don't remove it. But if you don't have it, you just create it by clicking here, add new NAT network. Okay, I do have the NAT network and all the virtual machine that I'm going to connect today will be connected to this NAT network. So let me go to the setting of this virtual machine, this Kali Linux that we just create, and let me see if all the settings are okay. So I'm interested in the network. The network by default is connected to NAT. I want to connect it to my NAT network that I just saw. So I just change it here, NAT network, and there is only one. It is connected, so everything looks good. I'm going to start my Kali Linux. We are going to wait. There is a default user in the virtual machine that is called Kali, and the password is Kali. So here is the virtual machine. I didn't do this virtual machine. I just downloaded it from the internet in kali.org, and it is booting. So it's a very famous virtual machine, or very famous Linux distribution. So there is a user by default that is called Kali, and the password is exactly the same, Kali in lowercase. So, okay, I am inside my Kali virtual machine. Let me open a console. Let me see with ID, this is my user. Let me try to see what is my IP address. My IP address is 10.02.15. Okay, so I have a first machine. This is the machine of the person, of the ethical hacker that want to find weaknesses in a server of the company. So the server of the company will be the Metasploitable that I just showed you. So for that, I did download the Metasploitable, it is there. Let me see something. Where is my, okay, I don't see it here. Okay, let me go back and understand where it created. So in this file, which is a zip file, I have a virtual hard disk. This is a virtual hard disk. So I'm going to create, because this is a virtual machine done for VMware. It is not done for VirtualBox. Since I could not work with the Kali Linux done for VMware because I don't have unzip WinZip here in this machine, I was not able to use the Kali Linux of VMware. I went to VirtualBox. So this is done for VMware. I need to bring it to VirtualBox. So I'm going to try to do it. So we already have the hard disk. We can use this hard disk and create a virtual machine. Let me create a virtual machine. So for that, I go back here to VirtualBox, and I'm going to say that I want a new virtual machine. So I can go here to the new or file new, it will be the same thing. File or machine new, sorry, it will be the same thing. So I'm going to create a machine that is called, for example, Metasploitable Linux. How do you spell that? Metasploitable Linux. It will be created in the directory user JSU desktop VMs. Okay, and this will be a Linux, and it will be Ubuntu. I know that inside we have a Ubuntu 32 bits, so here I'm going to specify Ubuntu 32 bits. Let me click on next here. It will ask me how much memory I want. 1 giga is okay, but this one don't have X window, so you can go with less. You can put, for example, 512 megabytes. It's enough for the server that we are going to try to have information about it. Okay, in this moment when I'm going to create it, I'm going to tell it doesn't have hard disk. I will add the hard disk after. So I'm saying, no, don't create a virtual machine with any hard disk. So then I click on create. So it's warning me, you are creating a virtual machine without hard disk. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to say continue, and here is the virtual machine. Now, the directory of the virtual machine have been created here. So look at here, I have my Kali Linux that I just created, and the directory is created here. So inside, I'm going to put the image of the hard disk. And then I will tell the new virtual machine that its hard disk is this file that I'm copying in this moment. So that was done. So I go back to my virtual machine and look at in storage. I'm going to, let me go in setting and let me go here in storage. So as you can see, we do have a CD unit, but we don't have hard disk. So I want to add a hard disk. I'm going to click on the icon that will allow me to add a hard disk. As you can see, it's the pop-up say add a hard disk. So I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to say, okay, I want to add the one that I just downloaded. So here, add. Okay, here it is, the one that I just downloaded. It is already there. It is in desktop VM Metasploitable Linux in my case. So I'm going to say choose it. And as you can see, it is there. Now the virtual machine have a CD and have a hard disk. Okay, so it's already have a hard disk, and it's the hard disk that I took from this virtual machine that is called Metasploitable. Another thing that I want to be sure at the level of this machine, that it also use the NAT network. So let me go back on setting. Let me go here in network. It's used NAT in this moment. So I'm going to change it to the NAT network, and there is only one. So it should be okay to go. Let me start. This will be my server. On my server, I have some weaknesses, and I want to find those weaknesses and to try to fix them. So I'm the expert, of course. In security, I use, of course, like any expert, I use a distribution of Linux, like Kali Linux, or other people use Security Onion. It's another version of Linux that people use also. Okay, so here I am in Metasploitable, and if you look this message that is there in the line that is just above, I hope you can see it, no? It says that there is a user that is called MSF admin, and the password is MSF admin. MSF stands for Metasploitable Framework. So M is meta, S is exploitable, F is framework admin. So let me type MSF admin. The password is the same one, MSF admin. So I'm inside it, as you can see. Maybe I don't know if we have a secure shell server here, but if we have a secure shell, see, didn't open any secure shell. I don't see anything open. So I think we don't have. So unfortunately, it might be difficult to see what I'm going to write, but I don't have choice. So let me see the IP address of this machine. It's 10.025. So let me see if I can ping it. Here my IP address is 10.0.2.15. Let me if I can ping my server, which is 10.0.2.5. Okay, I can ping it. So this is a good thing. So my machine, they call me and they say that this server has some weaknesses. They want an advice over this server. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to introduce you a tool that is called Nmap. It's a port mapper. Have you heard about Nmap? No? Okay. So Nmap is very powerful. This is the lab that we are doing. I can send it to you if you want. Okay. I just want to talk a little about Nmap. So, of course, Nmap has a manual. It is already installed in Kali Linux. So we can do man Nmap if we want. And we will have the manual, no? So it's a port scanner. It's a very well-known security tool. And with Nmap, we can do two things generally. We can discover the devices that are in a network, and we can know which port is open, which TCP and which UDP port are open in those machines. So I also have in this lab information about Nmap. So the first thing that I want to teach you is that when you ask Nmap to do a discovery or a scanning, you need to specify the IP address that you want to discover or to scan. So you can just specify one IP address. If you specify one IP address, Nmap will work against this IP address. Now, there is also a way to specify a range of IP addresses. For example, if you write 192.168.0.10-15, it means that the first byte is 192. The second byte is 168, the third byte is 0, but the 4 bytes is a range. The fourth byte is a range between 10 and 15. So here we have 6 IP addresses, which is 192.168.0.10, 192.168.0.11, up to 192.168.0.15. So Nmap have a convenient tools for us to verify that, no? So I'm going to go here in my Kali virtual machine. Let me see if I can open another shell with a lighter color, right over black maybe. You will see it better. Let's see if it have that. Should have that. Otherwise, I install it from the internet. What can I install? Maybe I can change the background color also, preference, color scheme. Kali light. Let's see, apply. Okay, this is what I wanted. Okay, so Nmap have an option that is SL. Show me the list of IP address. So for example, if I said 10.777, there is only one IP address. So it will tell me that these have only one IP address. So you see, it say the report is that there is only one IP address here, a total of one IP address. Now look, if I do that, how many IP addresses I will have here? I say 10.7.7. Let's put something different here. Let's put, for example, 22.25. So here we have how many IP addresses? We have 4 IP addresses, no? 10.7.7.22 up to 10.7.7.25. So it will show me, look at the reports, like there are 4 IP addresses. They go from 10.7.7.22 to 10.7.7.25. So this is a range at the level of the 4 bytes. You can do range at any level. For example, I can do here, I can do, for example, 10 to 15. So look at, the first byte is always 10. The second byte is always 7. The third byte is a range between 10 and 15, and the last byte is always 22. So here I will have 6 IP addresses, and the third byte will vary between 10 and 15. So look at 10.7, 10, 22, 10.7, 11, 22, up to 10.7, 15, 22. And of course, you can have a range in the, let's do it not that big, a range here. Let's go from 14 to 16 here, and 22 to 25. How many IP addresses I will have here? 3 times 3, isn't it? Because between 14 and 16, we have 3 IP addresses. 14, we have 3 integer, 14, 15, 16. And between 22 and 25, we have 22, 24, 25, another 3. So 3 times 3 will be 9 IP addresses. So 14, 15, 16, 22, 23, 24. Oh, here we have 4. So it's 3 times 4. It's 12 IP addresses. So look at the level of 14, we have 1422, 1423, 1424, 1425. Then we are at the level of 15 in the third byte, we'll have 1522, 1523, 1524, and 1525. And then 1622, 1623, up to 1625, no? So another thing that you can do is, for example, you can, what will be that? That the first byte is always 10, the second byte is always 7. Now, the third byte can be 14, 15, 16, 7, or 8, which is 5 value. And the last byte will be 22. So look at the third byte can be 7, can be 8, and it also can be in the range between 14 and 16. So 14, 15, 16, the last byte is always 22. So you can specify range, or you can specify value, and you need to separate it by comma. So for example, if I do that, let me do, for example, 8 here, 10 here, and let me do here, for example, 100 to 102. Here we will have what? 6 IP addresses. So 10, 7, 8, 10. 10, 7, 8, 100. 10, 7, 8, 101. 10, 7, 8, 102. And 10, 7, 10, 100. 10, 7, 10, 101. And 10, 7, 10, 102. Okay? Those are the 6 IP addresses that we have. Okay, so this explains the range that we can have here. This explains also that, for example, in the last byte, I can say the last byte can be either 10 or 20 or 17, no? So here we can have a range and a specific value, or here, sorry, we have a specific value, a range and a specific value. Okay, so for example, here the last byte can be 14, can be 22, 23, 24, or 5. So we have 5 IP addresses. Here, the range is in the third byte. Here, in the third byte, we have 2 values. And in the fourth byte, we have 6, 7, 8, we have 3 values. Let's see here. The first byte is always 10. The second byte is always 0. The third byte is always 4, and the fourth byte can be either, it can be 5, it can be 10, 11, 12, it can be 20, it can be 22, it can be 40 and 41, because this is a range, 40 to 41. So those with a star is any value between 0 and 255. So if I do that, put 7, 200 star. In the fourth byte, I will have any value between 0 and 255. So I will have 256 IP addresses in total, as you can see, no? So the first 3 bytes are always 10, 7, 200, and the last byte will vary between 0 and, here it's starting 0, 0 and 255. Of course, I can put the star at any level in the third byte if I want, or at another level. Okay, let's see another possibility. We can use also the / notation. So let's use the / notation. What about, what IP address will be here? 64/28. What will be this range of IP address? So a / 28 have how many IP addresses? 16 IP addresses. So they will start in 64 and end in 79, isn't it? So all the IP address between 64 and 79. 10, 7, 200, 64 up to 10, 7, 279. Okay? So I can specify also, I can use the sidear notation to specify a range of IP addresses. Okay, let's see what else we can do to specify the range of IP addresses that we want to interrogate. We can specify IP addresses separated by comma, so separated by space. So you can say, for example, I want you to scan this one, the 200,789, and for example, the 100,56100. So 3 IP addresses. There is one that was not valid. Why? Let me see. Oh, the first one, there is a 5 digit. So of course, there is 5 integer. So here it is. There are 3 IP addresses. No, this one in the previous one have something additional that was the .8. So I didn't report it. So it did detect that I did a typo. Okay, so you have a lot of power. Now at the level of the port, you can specify a specific port with the option -P21. When you specify that, it will be both UDP and TCP port. So it will be port 21 for UDP and port 21 for TCP. Look at what we can do. We can do that also. Specify several ports. So it will be, at the end, it will be 6 ports, because it will be port 21, port 80, port 443 for both UDP and TCP. Port 21 is a well-known port for which service? FTP. Port 80 is a well-known port for which service? HTTP. And port 443 is a well-known port for secure HTTP, no? Okay, you can specify also a range of ports. For example, here we have 5 ports, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. We have 5 ports for TCP and 5 ports for UDP. So at the end, we can say that it's 10 ports. Well, I don't know if we should say that port 21 for UDP and TCP are 2 different ports. Yeah, we should say that they are different. Yeah. Look at this example. So it will be port 21, any port between 80 and 82, and port 443. So how many ports we have? 10 ports, isn't it? 2 times 5. Because 21, 80, 81, 82, and 443. Times 2, because we have TCP and UDP. Now, look at, if you want just TCP, you can start the list of port with capital T colon. So in this case, it's exactly two ports, port 21 and port 80 for TCP. Doesn't include the port for UDP. So here, it will be how many ports? 5 ports. Port 21, 80, 90, 91, 92 for TCP, only for TCP. So here, it will be what? So we have port 100, 101, 102, 200, 205 for UDP. So when I want to specify UDP, I start the list of port with capital U colon. And they will all be, the subsequent ports will all be UDP. So look at this list. Here we say port 21 and 80 of TCP. Then we say for UDP, port 90, 91, 92, and 100. Okay? So we can specify in the list some ports that are TCP port, other that are UDP port. Let's see this list. So here we say at the level of TCP, port 21 and 23. At the level of UDP, port 69 and 161. And again, at the level of TCP, any port between 88 and 90. 88, 89, 90. Okay? It's a range. Look at this one. So here, the first two ports, we did not specify if they were UDP or TCP. So when we don't specify, they are both. So 21 is both TCP and UDP. 23 is both TCP and UDP. Now, 69 and 161 is only UDP. And 80, 110, and 443 is only TCP. Okay, so Nmap do two things. Nmap starts with a discovery process to know what device is up. And for the device that Nmap discovered that was up, it will do a port scanning to know which service is available in the machine. So look at what I'm going to show you. Here we have a server. A company called me and say, oh, this server, they are attacking it a lot. Okay, so the server has some weaknesses. I come as an expert with my laptop. On my laptop, I install Kali Linux. And I want to scan the server of the company to know what port is open. So I can use Nmap and put, look at what I'm going to do. The IP address of the server of the company is 10.0.2.5. I'm going to use Nmap. There is an option which is T4, which is make a very fast scan of, for example, 10.0.2.5. 10.0.2.5 is the IP address of the server. So Nmap in this case is going to do a discovery first to see if the machine is up and running. And if the machine is up and running, it will do a port scanning only for TCP. And it will scan the most frequently used 1,000 ports. It will not scan more than 1,000 ports. If I want all the ports, I have to specify. But by default, Nmap scan the most frequently used 1,000 ports. So you can imagine that in the 1,000 port more frequently used, we have what? We have HTTP, we have secure HTTP, we have Telnet, we have secure shell. Those services are very frequent. We have SMTP, okay, because you use those services. The ones that are less frequently used, maybe out of the 1,000 port that it will scan. So let me do it. And this is our report. So it said that it went through one IP address, because when I ran the command, I say just discover and scan this IP address. So it went over one IP address, just one IP address, and those are the ports that are open out of the 1,000 ports that it scanned. So look at it, say here. There are, of the 1,977 ports are closed. So here, since it do 1,000 ports, we should have 23. So we can count them. So if you count them, you should have 23. But of course, I'm not going to count them. I'm going to ask the computer to count them. So how can we ask the computer to count the open port to see that we have 23? After this command, I can, for example, put a grep. Look at all the lines that have an open port have the word open. So I can say, select of the output, the line that have the word open. Look, you see, only the line that have the word open. So it's filtered the line that are at the beginning and the line that are at the end of the report. Then I can do word count dash line 23. Okay, so there is exactly 23 ports that are open. So let's see those ports and let's discuss those ports. So port 21 is open and it's a FTP server. That's a bad idea. Why? Why it's a bad idea that a company keep an FTP server in the server, in their server? They should not. Why it's a bad idea? Because FTP use authentication, but the problem of FTP, it was created a long time ago. And when you type your password, when you type your login and your password, it goes in clear text. So for example, in the server, I can check that there is a FTP server. So let me go in the server and check that. So I can do netstat, for example, dash n numerical TCP all. And I will see that port 21 is open. Let me see. I can see it here. What can we do so I can get a white window of this guy? I can secure shell from, which is not a good idea, but I don't think you see it. Do you see it? Okay, three line from the bottom going up, I can see that port 21 is open. No? The first one that I see in the lower part is 53, 53, then 21. So we have 0.0.0.0 colon 21. So I can see that there is a FTP server. So look, I should be able to FTP in this machine. Let's try. FTP. So look, it is answering. This is 10.0.0.5, no? Let me see. My IP address is, yeah, 10.0.2.10.0.2.5, yeah. So let me put my username like MSF admin, Metasploitable framework admin, and look at, I am there in the machine. So the bad thing is that if somebody on the network have Wireshark running, the person will see the conversation and the conversation will be clear text. So let me start Wireshark sniffer. Here is Wireshark and we are going to capture this conversation. So we are going to capture on this port, which is Ethernet 0. And let me do it again. So what is my user? MSF admin. What is my password? MSF admin. Let me do a dir and let me exit. And let's see what the hacker have got. Here is the capture of the hacker. So it's a little difficult to work in a so low resolution monitor. Okay, so we have the traffic. So look at, let me try to maximize here. Look at the conversation. User MSF admin. in clear text. This is my login. And look at password MSF admin. It was in clear text. So of course, we should not have a FTP server. So I should tell the company, no, you cannot have this FTP server. You have to uninstall the FTP server. So we are going to proceed and then install it. So they say, okay, go ahead. What alternative you give me? Use Secure Shell. Secure Shell allow you to do remote station and allow you to transfer file, but don't use FTP. So I teach them how to use Secure Shell and they agree to remove FTP. Oh, so I go to the server and I'm going to disinstall FTP. Here, so to know what is the process that is running FTP, I can add one option here, which is the P for program, and it will show me which process is running FTP. Oh, yes. Doesn't fit in a, okay, there is a, let me try to do a grep. 421. Here is the entry. Yeah, I cannot see it because it shrunk the output on the right side. So I'm pretty sure that, let me use another command, PSAUX. I'm pretty sure I can identify the FTP server. Pro FTP daemon. This is the guy that opened port 21. So I want to disinstall this software. So I can check with the command dpkg-l the list of all the software that was installed. So it's a long list. So since it's a long list, I'm going to make a grep of FTP. And it will show me all the ones that are installed that are related to FTP. So as you can see here, we can see that Pro FTP daemon is installed. So I want to disinstall it. So to disinstall it, I'm going to use apt-get purge Pro FTP daemon. On port 21 should not be open anymore. So, oh, I am not the administrator. So let me do sudo of that. My password is msfadmin. And it's telling me I'm going to remove it. Do you agree? Yes, I do agree. So it's remove the FTP server. So now if I ask in the server, show me, for example, if port 21 is open. It is still open. It looks like no information. Read. It's still open. Let me check. Let's go to our Kali Linux machine. And it was open here. Let me scan again the server. So now the server say, no, it is not open. So this time we have 978 closed port. So it did close something. 21 is open. 21 is open. So which one is the one that I closed? I'm not sure. So it might be, I did close something, but it's not the one that I, so this Pro FTP server was running something different. Let me see. We should have another FTP server. So let me see. I can see curl. Oh, I can see FTPD. FTPD is another server that is running here. So they did have two FTP server, which is a mess. So I'm going to disinstall FTPD. FTPD is not installed. Oh, RC, yeah, that's true. So maybe I need to reboot the machine. Let me reboot it to see. Sudo init 6, and it will not have the FTP server running anymore. So let's wait while it reboots. So it's shutting down all the services in this moment. Should power off and then restart. So it's power off. It's restarting again. Let's wait that it's put all the service up, and then we will see if FTP is still running. Okay, it's ready. So MSF admin. Let's see. Let me in my Kali Linux boy. I'm going to do a search again. It is still running. Huh. So what is opening port? Since I cannot see it well here in the dark, let me secure shell init. And okay, let me secure shell in the client. So I'm going to say secure shell as MSF admin. And the IP address is 10.0.2.5. If I accept the certificate, yes, I accept it. My password is MSF admin, which is not a good idea. Now, this one is the server. I am in the server and we have a better graphical interface. This is what I wanted to have, a better graphical interface. It doesn't like the term that I'm using. Let me try this one. Okay, like it a little better. Okay, so let's see. Let's start. Let me go as a root user in the server. MSF admin. Okay, let's now say I want all the TCP ports that are open to be shown and to know which program ran them. So now, since I have this window, I should be able to do that and see the result a little better that I was not able to do previously. Okay, so it's much better. I want to see port 21 in the list. Here it is. Oh, I see. There is a meta daemon that is called xinitd, and it is started by xinitd. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go there, and we have VSFTP daemon. It is there. So since I have that, disable is no. Let me put disable is yes. And I will have to restart my meta daemon to tell it that I did some change. So let me do initd x restart. Okay, so it did restart. Let's see now if I see port 21. Open. It looks like it is not open anymore, but to be sure, let me grep in search of 21. It didn't find it. So now if I do a report here, 21 should not be open. So look at now, it doesn't say 21. The first one that is open is 23. So telnet also, they should not have telnet, because telnet, as we have seen, also do authentication, but it is in clear text. So we need to disable telnet. So telnet is port 23 in this list. I can search for the program. Here it is. It's also the metadaemon that start telnet. So I'm going to do the same thing. Here, I will find the file of telnet. It is not there, so it has to be on another place. There is a configuration file that say yes, they are all dead. So it's really telnet is port 23. Port 23, yes, is this guy. So where should I go to disable telnet? Here. Okay, I don't remember. I'm going to Google it to see disable telnet in the metadaemon, no? That is called xinetd. xinetd. So they talk about you should have this file, we didn't have it. So let me put in a Debian system to be more. Okay, we can do that. That's true. We can just do that. That's true. So let me do it. Where is paste here? We don't have syscontrol installed. So we may want to install syscontrol or find another possibility. Let me see. Oh, of course, we can also do that. Let me see if I can find it in dpkg-all grep telnet. So we do have a telnet daemon installed. So we can try to install it apt-get purge telnet daemon. Okay. Now let me see if I look. Port 23 is still there. I will have to do in all cases init xinit restart. And restart it. Port 23 is not running anymore. Good. So let me go there and try again. So look at port 23 is not there anymore. So another thing that is bad is those. Those are very obsolete commands that allow you to execute something remotely or log remotely. I should not have that. Another thing that you should tell the company is why you have two database servers. You have MySQL and you have PostgreSQL. Is it a requirement? Normally, a company have a policy. We will use, for example, MySQL, and all the projects of the company should use MySQL. Now, you might have in a company, oh, we normally use MySQL, but what we are doing doesn't work well with MySQL, so we did install PostgreSQL, so they have the two database servers running. Or maybe the company provides service to other company. One of the company that I work with like MySQL, so for them I install my MySQL server, and the other company like PostgreSQL, so I have two database server. But if you can avoid to have two database server, that will be better because it is more secure like that. Okay, so you should, for example, disable this service, and this service. These three should not be there. Avoid to have two services like that. Okay? Now, let me try to see if we have some UDP port open, because this is only TCP port. So let's talk about the discovery process that NetMap do. So there are four possibilities in the discovery process. So first of all, it's different if you are scanning a local host or a remote host. So as you can see here, we have local host and remote host. And also it's create two possibilities. And another possibility that I have when I run Nmap is it's not the same thing if I am an administrative user or I am a normal user. So unprivileged user and privileged user or administrative user is another two possibility. So 2 times 2 gives us 4 possibilities. So you see this cell is correspond to unprivileged user that is scanning a local target. This cell corresponds to unprivileged user that is scanning a remote target. So of course, if I am an expert in security, I will not be an unprivileged user. In my laptop, I will be a privileged user. So we are going to focus on these two cells. So here we have a cell which is privileged user on local target. And here we have another cell which is privileged user on a remote target. So the lab that we have, they belong to the same local area network. So I am, in this case, in the lab that we have. We are privileged user and the target is local. It's a local target. So remember that we have two phases. We have the discovery. So let's see what the discovery will do. Here they say to discover, it will just send an ARP request. ARP is a protocol that tries to resolve an IP address into a MAC address. So normally you have an ARP request, and if the device is up and running, it will answer an ARP reply. So look, here I am going to tell that I just want to do with SN, I'm going to cancel the second phase of Nmap. I'm just going to do the discover. So we should see an ARP request and an ARP reply. And Nmap should tell us that this device is up and running. So let me capture the traffic to see that we have just very little traffic when I do that. And the discovery process will be effective. So here it is done. Let me stop the capture and see what we have. Okay, it did have Scanning, no. Correct. N, okay. So let's see what we have here. We have a sync to port 80. Oh, like we are doing, like if it were a remote device. Let me check again. Port 80, port 4, port 80. Huh. Well, I will, it's maybe the change of the version of, but this is not what I will expect. Sync on port 8443. Sync arc reset arc. Let me do it again to see if it's what we are going to have. Yeah, it's not what I was waiting. So SN, disable port scan. This is what I'm trying to do. So if I do that, minus PN should not send anything. Let's see. Okay, didn't send anything. That's fine. So this is new. Oh. Yeah, so the ping scan disable. Port scan disable. Ping scan disable port scan. Okay. Let me try something else. If I say I want just port, for example, 100. Let's see the capture to see if it's logic. I am not root in this machine. This is why it didn't work. So Kali, I was saying that we are going to do as root, and I'm not root. And I told you that between a normal user and a privileged user, there is a difference. So let's do it again. So -n -sn 10025. So we should just see ARP request, ARP reply. So let me do it again. Continue without saving. And here I did it, and look at. We have an ARP request, an ARP reply. So ARP request is sent by my Kali machine to the server, and the server answer. So with an ARP request, my Kali machine is asking the server, what is your MAC? And the server sends its MAC back. What does it mean for us? If I send a request to the server, I'm telling the server, what is your MAC? And the server sent me back its MAC. What does it mean? The server is up and working. This is what it means. So look at what I'm going to say. It said that there were one IP address that I was scanning, and it said that the IP address is up and running. Now I'm going to put a range. I'm going to put, for example, from 2 to 20. So it's going to try, what it's going to do? Let's do it from 2 to 10. It's going to try, it's going to send an ARP request to 10.022. But there is no device with this IP address, so it will not get an answer. It's going to do it for 10.023, 10.024, no answer. 10.025 is going to answer because it's the server. 10.026, 7, 8, 9, 10 are not going to answer. So at the end, it's going to say there is only one IP address that is up, and it's 10.0.0, 10.025. So we will see an ARP request for each IP address, but there will be an ARP reply just for 10.025. So let me capture again, and let's see that. So look at it, say there are 9 IP addresses in total. So it says that 3 are up. So we have other devices that are up here. We will discover that. So look at the traffic. And we will see in the traffic capture read who is up. So it sent an ARP request to 10.0.0. The first one should be 10.0.0.2. So let me see if I can see it. Here it is, 10.0.0.2. And 10.0.0.2 did answer. 10.0.0.3 also answer, and 10.0.0.5 answer. So look at it, send it to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, as we were supposed to see. And we got answer only from 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.3, and 10.0.0.5. So the other didn't answer. So it's why it's reporting me that it could discover in this range that those devices are working, you know? So look at what it says here. 10.0.0.2 is up and working. 10.0.0.3 is up and working, and 10.0.0.5 is up and working. Look at what it says of 10.0.0.5. This is the MAC address of 10.0.0.5, and it's a virtual machine from VirtualBox. So I have other. Who will be 10.0.0.2? Let me try to see. Ping 10.0.22, sorry. That's answer. And who is 10.0.23? That's answer also. So let me see. What is my IP address here? ipconfig/all. Wow. It's a lot of IP address. It's a lot of information. Let me see if I can see it. This computer will have one of the IP address in 10.0.2. So let's see, this is not 10. 10. I don't see any IP address in 10.0.2. So another thing that I can check is my routing table. So from here, I can see that 10.0.21 is the default gateway. It was not in the range. So if I ping 10.0.21, it will also answer. So let me see who is my DNS server. I can check here in this file. My DNS server is 10.85.4.4. So those IP addresses are alive. I cannot justify why they are alive, but they are alive. As you can see, NetMap discovered them. And we have exactly what I was telling you. Now, look what we are going to do. I'm going to do this time, I'm going to, for one IP address, which is the IP address of the server, I know, for example, that you have a secure shell server. So I'm going to tell it to report me only one port, port 22. So it's not going to scan all the ports, just port 22, and it should tell me port 22 is open. So it says here, port 22 is open. If I say scan port 22, 21, we close it. That was FTP. We also close 23. 25 is open. This is SMTP. So 21 and 23 are closed. 22 and 25 are open. So it should report that 2 ports are open. So look at port of FTP is closed. Port of Telnet is closed. Port of SMTP, which is the 25, is open, and port of Secure Shell is open. So let me show you the traffic. So if you know a little about TCP, TCP uses what we call a three-way handshake when it's open communication. So the client sends to the server a sync. The server answers with a sync ACK, and the client answers with a ACK. So sync, ACK, ACK. It is called three-way handshake because we have 3 frames to open the communication. So when I use this option, S, it will send, the client will send to the server a sync. If it is open, the server will send a sync ACK. Then the client will send a reset. So for port 22 and 25 that are open, we should see a sync ACK, reset. Now for port 21 and 23 that are closed, we should see a sync from the client to the server, and the server, since the port is not open, should answer reset ACK, which is a way to tell Nmap this port is not open. So let's see, I'm going to capture the traffic, and we are going to see if we see that. Okay, there is just 2 packets that arrive. I don't want them. Restart capturing. Okay, let's do it. Okay, the capture of the traffic. And let's see what we have. So this is what we capture it. So let's see if on port, the 2 ports that are open is 22. We should see sync ACK, reset. So let's see what we have. Okay, here it is, the sync of port 22. Let's go from the client to the server. So I remember that the client, the IP address of the client is ending 15 on the server and in 5. So we have a sync. We need to see a sync ACK. Here it is. Now it's go from the server to the client. There is a sync ACK. And we need to see a reset. Here it is. So Nmap know that port 22 is open. We should see the same thing for port 25. We should have a sync ACK, reset. So here we have a sync, which is the client that's sent to the server, telling the server, hey, I need to open with you a communication through your port 25. So the server answers with a sync ACK, which is there. No, it is there. Look at port 25 is here. So the server tells the client, go ahead. I do agree, you can do it because this port is open. And then the client say reset. It tells the server, I changed my mind. I don't want to open this port anymore because I just want to see if you were alive. Okay? Now, look at at the level of the port that are closed. For example, port 21, which is the FTP port. So the client, which is 15, sent to the server, which is 5, a sync on port 21. And we should have a reset on port 21. Here it is. On port 21, the server say, no, this port is not open. I will not allow you to talk with me on this port. So it sent a reset. Reset means close your communication. I do not agree to talk on this port with you. And we should see the same thing on port 23. So the client, which is 15, sent to the server, which is 5, on port 23, a sync. And the server have to send a reset ACK on port 23. So it is there. So now .5 is the server, sent to .15 to the client. On port 23, a reset ACK saying, no, I don't want you to talk on this port with me because I'm not offering any service on port 23 because we disinstall the daemon on this port, no, as you remember. So we got what we were expecting to. It is open here. Okay, so what do you think when I do, for example, I'm going to do this for a range of IP address for 10.0.2.2 to 10.0.10. 10.0 to 10. What will happen if I do that? So remember there is two phases, a discovery phase. The discovery phase is with ARP. So for all the IP addresses, Nmap is going to send an ARP request. We know that .2 is alive, .3 is alive, and .5 is alive. So they will answer with an ARP reply. So Nmap know that these 3 machines are alive. Then Nmap for port 22 is going to try to connect to these 3 IP addresses. I don't know if the port is open or not in these 3 IP addresses, which is 10.0.2.2, 10.0.2.3, and 10.0.2.5. But it will give us a report. And we can capture it and confirm what Nmap is going to show us. So let me do it. Okay, the report is there. Let me stop the capture and let's understand. So look, it says that on 10.0.2.3, this port is filtered, the port of secure shell. Then it says that on 10.0.2.5, this port is also filtered. Then it says that on 10.0.2.2, the port is filtered, as we can see. On 10.0.2.3, the port is filtered. On 10.0.2.5, the port is open. So let's verify what we said. So we have a bunch of ARP requests at the beginning for all the IP address on only 3 answers. So the 2, the 3, and the 5 did answer the ARP request with an ARP reply. Then for the 3 IP address that did answer, Nmap is going to try to open port 22. So look at, Nmap is in .15. He's trying to do it on .3. Then in this, he's trying to do it on .5. And he's trying to do it also on .2. So, for example, for .5, we get a sync ACK, which means that .5 do have the service. Now for .3, we receive a destination unreachable. It's why it's reported as filtered. In dot, the other is dot 2. Dot 2, this say a reset ACK. Reset ACK for me is it's sure, yeah, reset ACK. I will say that it will report it as close. Why don't report it as close? I see 2 reset ACK from the dot 2. Did I try? Oh yeah, I try a sync here, and I try another sync here. I did try 2 sync. So because it didn't answer on time. So in this port, 50,057 and 50,057. Oh, here it is, 50,059. Yeah, 50,059, and it's reset ACK. Well, it's say filter read when I would say that filter read. Yeah, I would say that it should say close. I'm not sure why it says filter read, but it's not open at least. Okay, this is a very powerful tool. Of course, it requires a lot of networking knowledge. Okay, so this is the networking part of security. This is a port mapper or a port scanner. And it is very used. It's very, very important to use it because it will tell you what service is running your server. Because when you install an operating system, you don't know what ports are open. Of course, you have command like netstat that will give you the information of what ports are open. But sometimes you don't have access to the server. They don't give you access to the server, and they tell you, okay, try as an ethical hacker to tell me what are the weaknesses of my server and help me to eliminate those weaknesses. So they don't allow you access to the server, but they tell you, okay, it's okay if you generate traffic toward the server. Be very careful with that, no? With tools like Nmap. Don't run Nmap against a computer without authorization of the person, no? Because you might ending in a problem with the company where you run that, no? So normally we do that because a company employ us and ask us to do testing on their server to see what are the problems. But you should, before you run that against a server, you should have a contract with the company, okay? Because you need to protect yourself. Because of course, I'm sure most of the company will have also way to detect from which IP address the scanning was done. And if they do have that, they can go back to you, trace to you, and realize that you did it. So it's very sensitive. Don't run this kind of tools against server, for example, in JSU, or server in the internet. No, don't do that, okay? You do that in a lab environment, as I did. So I have a server that is local, which is metasploitable. I didn't do it. I just downloaded it from the internet, and it's there for exercise purpose. And I did run some nmat command on it to see what kind of weaknesses it has. So things that will do hackers, when they know that your machine is alive, they want to discover what operating system you are running. If they know what operating system you are running, they go to a database to know what are the weaknesses of the operating system. If you do not patch your operating system frequently, they will enter in your system. So Nmap do have an option, to give you the operating system that is running. So let me see. I think the option is there in the exercise. Option O. Let's use option O to see it, for example. I'm going to run option O against my metasploitable machine, capital O. It will take some time, but look at, it's make a discovery. It's telling me, oh, this is a Linux machine that have this kernel. So you see, it tells me what kind of machine it is. It's make an operating system discovery. So it's why it's dangerous, because you can have the information of the operating system. Of course, before you discover the information of the operating system, you have to send a lot of traffic to the server. And if the people in the server do care about security, they will know that you did that on their server. No? I wish I have a window machine in this lab. We will do that against this machine. Let me see if I can reach my window machine. If I can reach my window machine, let me, which IP address it have. So I'm with VirtualBox. If I'm with VirtualBox, those are VirtualBox, maybe one of this IP address. Let me try if I can reach one of this IP address. If I can reach it from here, I will be able to discover. Yeah, I can reach it. Good. So let me put this IP address here, and we should have a report about the operating system. We option -O. This was one of the exercises that they put in this lab. Still doing it. Okay, let's take some time to do. Maybe because the window machine is a little more protected than this virtual machine that I download from the internet. Okay, here is the report. Let's see what we can see. The OS scan may be unreliable, it say, no? Yes. Yeah, so it didn't discover that it was a window machine. It does, look at it does. With this do service up, it's very probable that we have a window machine. Oh, we have even the MySQL server running in this machine, which means that somebody is teaching database here and install a server, no? But it didn't say it's a window machine. I think because we might have some firewall on the window machine that block most of the traffic and don't give Nmap to have enough information to discover that it's a Windows 10 machine. Okay, I'm going to stop here today. So next Tuesday, starting on Monday, we have a conference. Let me show you a web page of the conference. acmsoutheast.net. So this conference will run from Monday to Wednesday, and I'm in front of it. So I will not be teaching on Tuesday. I will send an email to tell you that. I would like you to attend some session of this conference. So in the schedule, you will find the general schedule, which is there. And here you will find more detail about the schedule, the session that are offered. And we also have some tutorials. So offered tutorials, we have 4 tutorials. So you can attend any event for free. The only thing that you have to do is to register, and it's free. You register as an attendee. There is just one form, a Google form, that you need to fill, which is this form. And with that, we will give you the information on how to connect to the conference and to attend the session that you want to attend. Okay, so please attend some sessions so you have some experience of what is a conference. So JSU is making a big effort to organize this conference. It's a lot of work for us. So it will be very nice if you can attend some of the session. Okay, I see you next Tuesday. Okay, we don't have. Today we are Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday. You are right. Because on Tuesday I will be on the conference. I see you next Thursday. Okay, thank you so much. Bye.